Here is the Toyota Sienna XLE in pre-dawn gray metallic with the soft tech interior. This is the sweet spot when it comes to the Sienna because you can option features in which you can get this to nearly be a limited spec for a fraction of the price. But there is some pros and cons, and a problem that I have. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm also going to compare this against comparable rivals. Starting with LED headlights and daytime runnings, the XLE starts with the chrome trim. The LE will boast matte black, so that's going to taper over the headlamp assembly, going into the matte black with the Toyota badging. This is a hybrid, so you're expecting 36 mpgs, and that's what they're giving you. Enlarged grille is going to get the matte black, and the chrome surrounding it with the C structure that's wrapping around the fog lamp assembly, and you're still getting over 6 inches of clearance. So when you're thinking minivan, you know, I want an SUV, well, now you have options because they've made it styled similar to an SUV, except for this front overhang. If it was extended out a little bit more so, and the hood was a little bit more higher up, then there would be no need to even option an SUV because of getting a butter smooth suspension, unless you want to tick the box for an XSE and you get a sport tune suspension. Now you're getting a more family functional vehicle with a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder with 245 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque paired to an eCVT transmission. The XSE will get 20-inch wheels, which is going to be the larger wheels for the Sienna. When you go limited, you're getting 18-inch wheels with the bright chrome. Here, we got these 17-inch alloy wheels, which is the same as the LE. The side rocker, same color as the body, and this is the trim that starts with the chrome that's going to be on the door handles, across all the window housing on the top portion, but it leaves it open here in the back for the third window. So it keeps that SUV look, and yet you still get the sliding doors, so it's easier access inside to the second and third row. And you don't have to worry about slamming the doors on your day in and day out use. And comparing against rivals like Honda and Chrysler, this is going to be the least in towing, 3,500 pounds. It's not going to have the most horsepower and torque either. And when you go into the Chrysler, you have different engine options. But this is going to be the best MPGs across the board. Standard X-style LED taillights with the gloss black that's surrounding the top portion, matte black on the lower, and the Sienna badging in matte black. You also receive 2 spoilers. So one here underneath the windshield wiper and the lower roof spoiler, which, because they have integrated it this way, kind of wish they would have moved that windshield wiper underneath there. You can option a dash cam, which we have, and that's stationed right there. If you want the 360-degree reverse camera, you have to go platinum, and you can option a digital rear view mirror for the limited trim and up. 33.5 cubic feet of storage. And this is with the bench. You'll have 75.4 cubic feet of storage. You'll have a low entrance for the opening, and then it'll kind of taper inwards. In the XLE, you got 8 speakers, so they'll have 2 in the tailgate. 10-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 4-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, soft tech seats, heated front seats, headroom, and leg room. Storage is going to start on the driver's side. You'll have a pass-through with a 12-volt, and check out how much room you have on the passenger side with a long storage pocket. Wireless charger is option on the LE, total of 8 USB ports found throughout. Gonna have that wood inlay look. The key fob for the Sienna. 9-inch infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse. Trajectory is going to not expand in this tier. Quad climate control. Driver modes, which you have a sport and an eco. You have a storage tier here, more cup holders that open up, and then it's going to be soft here. Open that up, and it's a deep storage pocket with 2 more USB ports. Steering wheel is 3-spoke, multi-function, 4.2 gauge cluster. 10-inch heads-up display is only on the platinum tier. Auto-dimming rear view mirror starts on the LE as an option. A moonroof for the front occupants. And the door is going to have the soft materials where it needs to be with the wood inlays. and 2 tiers of storage. For the second row, headroom and leg room, which you can slide these forward to give more space to the rear occupants or cargo, in which it'd be too tight for me. You can slide it all the way back, in which when you recline these seats, it'll be more relaxing for me. Standard sunshades on all trims, air vents in the ceiling, 4th climate control because this is the XLE. Cup holders in the center with USB ports and storage behind both of the front seats. It's going to be more harder materials, but that's because you have these soft materials right here on both sides. And then sliding into the center, leg space, not really going to be shared, nor butt, leg, shoulder, because it's kind of carved out for you. And the same thing for headroom, you just have a ton of it. To enter into the third row, pull the lever, and you slide it forward simply by another lever, which slides all the way up to fit 3 more occupants. Let's remove this seat belt. USB ports are only behind the passenger on the 3rd row seat. Cup holders are standard on both sides. Sunshades become an option on the XSE with air vents in the ceiling, headroom, and these seats recline with the little lever right here. There we go. In which headroom starts getting a little compromised because of this lip. Leg space isn't too bad with the bench. Sliding into the center, you're going to be sitting more or less on rails for your feet. So you'll be sharing some feet, butt, shoulder, and leg space. A little bit tighter when you go bench instead of captain seats. But headroom is still not too bad, except for this dome light right here that I keep hitting because I'm 6'3". 245 horsepower backed with 176 pound-feet of torque. ECVT transmission, whereas when you go to competitors, they will have a automatic transmission, but this is the best in PGs. It is not going to be the best in towing capabilities, but you can also option an all-wheel drive. When you're in this trim, you can have an 8-passenger layout or a 7-seat with a bench. So what I like about this is you have options. When you go up the tier, you'll get more options, obviously, but the XLE options the most in the sense of the best value captured, because you can get the larger touch screen. All trims can have a wireless charging pad. All trims get 18 cup and bottle holders found throughout, plus 7 USB ports found throughout the cabin. Now this is not a car you're going to be racing, so it's more of the everyday drive, in which it's settled, 17-inch wheels. It feels a bit wide and long. That is also to be expected because it's a minivan. It feels a little bit more sporty and hip, except for the way the dashboard and the hood is configured. That's really how I can understand that this is a minivan. As for moving in and out of lanes, the steering is relatively light. Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, that's going to start taking me to the pros and cons, in which is a con. We don't have the latest Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 back with the Sienna. Now I understand the refresh was back in 21 when we lost the V6 variant, but when I'm thinking about rival perspective, over the years they have increased in safety. We can still option different engines when you go into rivals. And towing capacity is going to be the best when you go to Honda and Chrysler. The pro is you get the best MPGs. It's more or less a butter smooth suspension. And I like how it is so much more creative in the sense of giving us more storage and yet keeping it simplified, because when you go into the Odyssey or the Pacifica, it can feel a little bit more cluttered, a little bit more closed off. Here, it's just more open, especially going into the back seats. A con, you have to go to the XSE in order to option the 3rd row sunshades. Turn radius is about 2 in a part lane, just to see how well she performs. It's gonna get you to point A to point B. The big problem that I have with the Sienna is there's just a lot of hard materials found throughout the interior of the cabin, in which when you start going into these higher price points, you're expecting to see some more soft materials. Even for the arms where you rest, that are a little bit more firm, the cushion that is, and they just put harder aesthetics pretty much everywhere, which they could have still captured some of that sporty feel, but they didn't do that. And when I'm thinking Honda or Chrysler, they have more soft materials inside, and you don't have to necessarily go to the top tier in order to get so. But if you go to the top tier, you'll start getting pillows in the second row, which it's almost like a Maybach when you're considering the Pacifica. But then the price does escalate significantly compared to this. The engine's gonna cut on whenever you're coming off the line at a red light. There's really no way around it, but it will be a little bit less engine noise in this compared to any of the rivals. You also have a little bit more space to get into the third row when you're going Sienna. And that takes me to another con, whereas the infotainment screen pushes forward and outwards, which it would be nice if it was more flush with the dashboard. I like that we got physical buttons for the climate control. I'm not saying put that in there, but they could have still reconfigured this and maximized the storage capacity, because when I'm looking at any of the competitors, this has one of the best storage capacities everywhere. I mean, 18 cup and bottle holders throughout the cabin, that's more than enough for 2 drinks per occupant. 7 USB ports, which is not so great if you're having 8, but then you option the wireless charger and you're taken care of. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Gettle Stadium Toyota for giving us this 2024 Toyota Sienna for our car review.